Hi, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily, and today we're going to be talking about my 5 favorite book series. So, my 5 favorite book series are pretty different from each other, but there is one recurring theme, and that is mostly that they're all pretty dark, and that they're all fantasy. Well, actually, one's dystopian, but it's pretty close to fantasy. They are my current favorite books, and what I mean by that is that I've read them all in the last 2 years. This list is in no particular order either, because, I mean, if somebody asked me to pick between 5 of my children and say, rank your children, 5 being the worst and number 1 being the best, I don't think I could do it, and these books I consider to be my baby children. So let's just jump right into it. The first book series that I really want to talk about today is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. A Court of Thorns and Roses begins with Feyre hunting in the woods to support her family during the hard winter months. She sees a wolf, and she kills a wolf with an ash arrow through the eye. A few nights later, a high fae, in the form of a beast creature, breaks into her family's cottage in the woods and says, for retribution for killing a high fae, which is what the wolf was, you have to come with me to Prythian, beyond the wall, and live out the rest of your days with me. So that's where the story really takes off. Beyond the wall in Prythian, Feyre has to navigate court politics, fae politics. She has to figure out which people or which creatures are dangerous, who to trust, who not to trust. It's quite political, but also very romantic because it deals a lot with the relationships that Feyre makes in the fae court. So yeah, that's what the series is about. I really like it, and I primarily really like the second book the best. I think a lot of people hold that same opinion. It's super romantic, it's super sexy, like it's just so good. I really like it. It's so good. I gave this book 4 stars. This book got 4 stars from me. I really liked it. The second time I reread it, that's when I gave it 4 stars. I think the first time I reread it, I gave it 5 stars. This book, which is the second book in the series, I gave 5 stars first time around. This third book, I don't really want to talk about. I just want to pretend that this book doesn't exist. I don't think it was that good, but I like the series enough to consider it to be one of my favorites. The next book series I want to talk about is a series that I don't currently own. I'm trying to get my hands on the hardcover copies because I really like the hardcover copies the best, and they have ribbon bookmarkers. Who doesn't like ribbon bookmarkers? So that is the Tearling trilogy by Erica Johansson. I would like to start off by saying I have a very complicated relationship with the series. The Tearling trilogy begins with the book The Queen of the Tearling, which is about a girl named Kelsey who is the heir to a failing kingdom. And I say failing kingdom because it's kind of starting to get pretty run down. The monarchs kind of all suck. Half of the people are enslaved. There's a wagon that comes over annually. Actually, I think it's like monthly now. At the point in the story, I think it's like a monthly like lottery. Everybody's getting enslaved to the neighboring kingdom. There's poverty, there's sickness. People are like just not happy with the current monarch. And so Kelsey comes of age, and her queen's guard comes to get her, and they're like, it's time to be queen. So we follow her story as she gets to the Tearling, which is her country, and she begins to rule it. So Kelsey is described by a lot of people as a very unlikable character, and I don't agree with that. I think that she's a really interesting character. She's got a lot of layers. She's like an onion. She's really smart and intelligent. She's very serious, but she's also very cunning. She's definitely a Slytherin character, for sure, for sure. She knows how to run a country because she's been studying how to run a country for her whole life. I binge read this series, and I would love to binge read it again because it was so fascinating to me. The politics of the Tearling and Mortmain, the neighboring city, are just so fascinating to me, and the politics of the Queen's Guard and Kelsey. The reason I say that the series is really complicated also is because of the ending to the trilogy. I won't talk about it, but I'm sure if you've been on BookTube and you've heard people talk about the series, they always bring up the ending. I was very upset at the ending. As I come to terms with that ending, I kind of am like, okay, I get it, whatever. But I was really angry for a long time. But this is a series that I think about all the time. And if there's a book series that you're constantly thinking about, then you probably really like it. Scythe is about what happens when humanity has conquered war, hunger, sadness, fear, and death. In this world, because humanity has nothing to fear anymore, they have elected a group of people to bring death, and those are scythes. In this book, we follow Rowan and Citra as they are apprenticed to a scythe and they learn how to become morally just bringers of death, or scythes. This book deals with so many themes that are so oftentimes pretentious in other books that the way Neil Shusterman writes these themes, they're more like philosophical concepts that you can ponder and think about rather than him saying, here's what's right and wrong. And that's one of the things I really like about this because he gives you the information just to think about. He doesn't give you his opinion, he just gives it to you to think about. But I also like this series because it's so unique and so interesting. And Neil Shusterman tends to write about really unique and interesting things. So if you haven't read this book, please pick up this book because The Toll comes out on November 5th. I already have it pre-ordered. I am so excited. The next series I want to talk about is Three Dark Crowns. I love this series so much. So I want to read you the first page of this book because I think it might be really crucial to the understanding of the plot. Three dark queens are born in a glen. Sweet little triplets will never be friends. Three dark sisters, all fair to be seen, two to devour and one to be queen. So that's basically the entire plot of this series. They are three triplet sisters sent from the goddess. In this book we follow Arsinoe, who is a naturalist, which means she has a really powerful connection to the earth and animals. We also follow Mirabella, who is an elemental who can control weather and other elements like rain and lightning and fire and stuff. And then we also follow Katarine, the poisoner queen, which means she can consume poison and she can be poisoned and it won't affect her. So the reason I like this series so much is because the sisters have to kill each other to be on the throne. Like what the poem says, three dark sisters, all fair to be seen, two to devour and one to be queen. Only one sister can be on the throne. The thing I like about this series so much is that it's so dark and luscious, and the island is so amazing, and it's so interesting, and all the characters are just, they're a lot more than what you would expect out of this. They're a lot more than just, I want to kill my sister so I can be on the throne. They're way more than that. They are people with emotions and love for their families, and some don't even want to be queen. So I really like that each sister wants a different thing. And this book, a lot of people say this book was really boring, and I mean, I hate to say it, but I kind of agree. Three Dark Crowns is pretty boring. However, when you get to One Dark Throne, shit hits the fan, man. Shit hits the fan. After the cliffhanger in Three Dark Crowns, when you get to One Dark Throne, things really pick up. And then when you get to Two Dark Reigns, which I don't have a copy of, when you get to Two Dark Reigns, things are really kicking off. Five Dark Fates doesn't come out until October. And from the title, I think it sounds like it's the conclusion to this quartet. But if it's not, I'm gonna die. I am gonna die. That's my cat. Now let's talk about my last, but probably my most favorite book series. If I had to pick a child, I would probably pick a Game of Thrones. I don't think I really need to tell you what Game of Thrones is about. But if you want to know and you don't know for some reason, A Game of Thrones is a highly political, epic fantasy story about a lot of things. It's mostly about people's claims to the throne. It's about there's a queen in the east, there's a queen on there's a king on the throne, there's a king in the north, there's a king beyond the wall, there's a king here, there, everywhere. There's just so many kings and queens, so many claims to the thrones. There's so much going on in here. It's politics. It's just so interesting, and it's full of so much intrigue, and there's so much world building. Wow, George R.R. Martin really builds a world, and his character work is fantastic. His characters are so layered and complex and interesting, and the world that he builds around them is so layered and complex and interesting. He's actually writing a Targaryen history book right now, and the Targaryens were the ruling family for a long time before Robert's Rebellion, which put the Baratheons on the throne. There's so much going on in this book that it's just really hard to tell you. The back of the book says magic, mystery, intrigue, romance, and adventure fills these pages. Long ago, in a time forgotten, a preternatural event threw the seasons out of balance. In a land where summers can last decades and winters a lifetime, trouble is brewing. The cold is returning, and in the frozen wastes to the north of Winterfell, sinister and supernatural forces are massing beyond the kingdom's protective wall. At the center of the conflict lies the Starks of Winterfell, a family as harsh and unyielding as the land they were born to. Sweeping from a land of brutal cold to a distant summertime kingdom of Epicurean plenty, here are the tale of lords and ladies, soldiers and sorcerers, assassins and bastards who come together in a time of grim omens. Yeah, that's how I would describe that, but I don't know how to describe things. So, yeah, that's a Game of Thrones. So there you have it. Those are my favorite books of all time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing my face again. I certainly enjoyed filming again. And I hope you would subscribe to my channel, hit the bell notification so you can get notifications when I post. Give this video a thumbs up. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.